Hi, so this unit is all about volume. So not only are we going to talk about volume of rectangular prisms, we're also going to talk about volume of all the different kinds of shapes. Okay, so all the different kinds of shapes. So the easiest one is the volume of a rectangular prism because you guys did that when you guys were in elementary school. So when we talk about volume, we're talking about 3D shapes. It's the amount that takes up of a 3D figure, okay? We measure it in cubic units or, units to the third power. Because if you think about it, if you have like even just a rectangular prism like this, you'd be doing length times width times the height, which means you'd be doing like centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. So it'd be centimeters to the third power or cubed. Okay, when we're talking about rectangular prisms, unfortunately, you guys have learned length times width times height. And in middle school and on your star reference sheet, they don't say that. They're going to say for all prisms, it's going to be big B, or the area of the base, times the height. The beautiful part is they're usually going to tell you what the shape is. Okay, so like on here, they would say, hey, what is the volume of the rectangular prism below? And so you would write out your formula from your star reference sheet every time. And in this case, your base is 4 and 3, so it'd be 4 times 3, which is 12, times your height. And when they say height, in this case, they're talking about how tall is your prism. Or another word would be the depth. What is the depth of the prism? And that would be 5. So you'd need this base, and you would need it 5 separate times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you go 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. And since it's centimeters, it'd be centimeters cubed. And then we have this one. So if they gave you, they give you the volume, and they're asking you for the area, and they tell you the area of the base, and they're asking for the height. Then what you would do is you would go ahead and write out your formula again. And then you'd plug in 75 for the volume, and then 25 for the area of the base, or the big B, and you're looking for the height. And in this case, you would just be solving an equation. So this is multiplying. The inverse of multiplying is dividing, so you would divide by 25, and you would get 3. So the height would be 3 centimeters. Now, if they give you fractions and things like that, it really depends on what fraction they give you. If they give you a fraction that is really easy, like 1/2 or a fourth, then you would change it into a decimal and just multiply them as decimals. So like a half would be 0.5, a fourth would be 0.25. But if they give you something like this and they're not very nice and neat as decimals, you can just multiply fractions. So if you remember, it's top times the top and bottom times the bottom. And then every whole number has 1 as its denominator. So 15 times 2 is 30, 40 times 1 is 40, and then you simplify. Okay. Now the next shape we're going to talk about is a triangular prism. A triangular prism, you're still going to have the exact same formula because it's a prism, but this time it's telling you the base is the triangle. Now people get confused because they're like, but it's sitting on a rectangle. Yes, but they are telling you it is a triangular prism because the triangle is what is being repeated over and over and over again to make this. Okay. So in this case, I actually color coded it. So in this case, the area of the base, it would be a triangle. So that would be 1/2 base times height. Okay, that would be 4 times 3. We're not going to use the 5, not using the 5 because that's a slant. So don't use that 5. Okay, don't let it confuse you. Let me just get rid of it. Okay. What I like to do also when I'm doing these things is whenever I am thinking, what is the height of the prism? How long is this prism? Usually that's what I'll actually type in first, or write in first. I'll write the 11 first. And then you just solve it out. So 4 times 3 is 12. I'm confused. Why does it say that? That's funny. I couldn't figure out why I wrote the way I wrote it, but what I did is I did half of 4 first. So half of 4 is 2, and then 2 times 3 is 6. So, or you could do 4 times 3, which is 12, and then 12 divided by 2 is 6. So it doesn't matter which way you go to it. Sorry, I got confused by my own thing. And then 6 times 11 would get me 66. You could also just go ahead and multiply all these. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then you could do 12 times 11. So both of these ways actually work. So if you did 12 times 11, you would get 132. And then you would divide that by 2 at the end. You can always divide at the end if that will make you feel better. Okay, so this next one is another triangular prism. Okay, so you'd still do the area of the base. It's a triangle. It tells us it's a triangle. Area of the base times the depth or the height of the prism, which is 14. So I'm going to write that in first. 14 is the height of the prism, okay? And then you don't need these 13s. Those are slants. You don't want to use those. Okay, so the base of the triangle is 10. The height would be 12. Okay, so you could do 10 times 12 and get 120 and then divide by 2. Or you could take half of 10, which is 5. 5 times 12 is 60, and then multiply by 14. There's a lot of different ways you can solve these kind of problems. But the big thing is follow the formula. Follow the formula. Now here's we're going to get into some more challenging problems. These are the pyramids. The pyramids are kind of rough because the formula is a little bit tougher because it has that third. Okay, so 1/3 the area of the base times the height. So in this case, the 6 is the height of the pyramid. So we're just going to write that in right away. The height of the pyramid is 6, so let's just do that. So then I look and it's a rectangular pyramid. So it's a rectangle here. So a rectangle, the area of a rectangle is 10 times 8 would be 80. Okay, and then I would do 80 times 6 and get 480. And then divide by 3 and you get 160. Here's another one. This one's a triangular pyramid though. And they're going to usually tell you what it is, but the base here is a triangle. So in this case, this is the hardest one, okay? Because the formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So you would have to do that first. So 8 times 6 is 48. 48 divided by 2, because half is 24. So if you notice 24 right here. And then you would actually multiply the 24 times the height of the pyramid, which is 10. And then the very last thing you have to do that a lot of people forget to do is making sure they do that divide by 3. Okay. Now, here's one way that you can remember is you just got to stay organized. If you stay organized, you can actually say, oh, I didn't do the third yet. Oh, I haven't multiplied times the height of the pyramid yet. That's the biggest way to do this is you got to stay organized. Okay. So here's another one. A triangular pyramid has a height of 12 centimeters. The area of the base, so that's actually telling me what big B is 8. And then ask for the volume. So in this case, it's not making us do 1/2 base times height. It's actually just going to tell us, hey, big B, that's 8. And the height is going to be 12. So then you just plug in and solve. 8 times 12 is 96. Divided by 3 because it's a pyramid. And you get 32. Next one, this one's a little bit easy and it seems like it's too easy, but that's right. The volume of the triangular prism, so that would be volume equals big B times H, is 72. So they're telling you the volume in this one. And they tell you the height is 8. So then it's just asking, what is the area of the base? So it's just asking you for big B. So 72 divided by 8 is 9. I know it feels like it's too simple on that one, but that's it. Okay, so this last one, I just wanted to make sure that you guys remember how to multiply decimals. So that's why I put this one in. It tells us the height and the area of the rectangular prism, the area of the base, and the height. So remember when you multiply, it doesn't matter if you put the 25 or the 5.8 on top, it doesn't matter. But in this case, I'm going to do this, and I don't have my mouse, so this is going to be fun. 8 times 5 is 40. So you're going to multiply as if the decimal's not there. 25 plus 4 is 29. 0. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1, get rid of that 4. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Ooh. 0. 9 plus 6 is 15. 2, 3, 4. So I have 1,450, but I have one decimal place value, so I got to move this over into the tenths. So 145. Just make sure that you put that decimal back in. Okay, so at the very end of this, you do have some IXL codes. They're written right there for you to get some practice in. But also, there is a Canvas assignment as well because your test is on Friday. So these things can definitely help you. And then doing your review can also help. And of course, if you have questions, please feel free to email me or ask me. That's what I'm here for.